The rain poured relentlessly that fateful night. I can still remember the sound of water hitting the roof. My daughter, Jane, was only 8 years old and full of life. The last time I saw her was when she went out to play with our dog, Big, a Shih Tzu, on the covered porch. I was busy in the kitchen, distracted by pots and dishes, and my husband, Steve, was working in his office. When I heard the bark, the scream, and the thunder, it was already too late. I ran frantically, only to find Jane and the dog lying in the backyard. After the accident, my world shattered into pieces. The pain of loss became a constant shadow in my life. The nights were long and lonely, and I couldn't escape the memories. How her smile could light up any room, her soft, captivating laugh. That's when I decided to seek comfort in occult rituals. Someone told me about a woman in the neighboring town who could help contact the dead. Deep down, I knew I shouldn't do it, but the hope of hearing my daughter's voice, or seeing her again, was stronger than any fear. On that rainy Friday night, just like that fateful one, I went to the home of a woman named Mrs. Kaida. The place was far away, the house small and dimly lit. The smell of incense, mixed with melting candles, filled the heavy air as I stepped inside. She was of Asian descent, with neatly combed straight gray hair and deep, empty, distant eyes. "You want to talk to her?" she asked bluntly. I nodded almost imperceptibly, trying to hold back my tears. Mrs. Kaida lit candles around a table covered with a dark cloth and began murmuring words in a strange language. As she focused, something stirred inside me, hope mixed with fear. With her eyes closed, she told me to call for my daughter's spirit. With a trembling voice, I began, "Jane, are you there?" A sharp chill ran down my spine when I felt a presence. It wasn't just Jane answering my call. Something else was in the room with us. The candle flames trembled violently before going out all at once, plunging us into total darkness. "It's not her," Mrs. Kaida whispered, panic in her voice. The air grew heavy and oppressive. Something evil had been summoned by mistake. "Get out. Now," she shouted as she frantically tried to relight the candles. But it was already too late. A cold whisper echoed through the room. "You called me, and here I am." I tried to run out of that cursed house, but my feet felt glued to the floor. I looked at Mrs. Kaida. Her face was pale as paper, her gaze locked on a dark corner behind me. I turned my head slowly and saw something forming there, a vague figure wrapped in shadows. I couldn't make out its features, but I could feel its piercing stare. "Jane?" I called out, in a futile attempt to find comfort in the middle of absolute horror. The only response came as distorted voices, mimicking children playing in the distance. I finally managed to move my feet and ran out of that house into the pouring rain. The cold water mixed with my tears seemed to ease some of the weight on my chest as I drove through empty streets until I got home. In the days following that horrifying encounter with the demonic entity, strange things began to happen inside my house. Whispers during the night, and objects moving on their own. Clear signs that some evil force had decided to stay with me after that failed ritual. Day after day, I spent hours trying to ignore it all, until I decided to investigate this sinister phenomenon. In a desperate search for answers, I took from the closet the boxes filled with Jane's favorite toys. Only then did I notice all the items inside had been moved. A chilling realization washed over me. It was impossible to deny it. This entity wanted something more. Maybe it wanted to possess me, or simply torture me for my mistake. I decided to end this terrifying cycle in one last attempt. I went to the cemetery, where I buried my daughter. I needed to apologize to Jane, though I had no idea this act would bring terrible consequences. As I placed fresh flowers on her grave, I prayed fervently, asking for forgiveness for calling her through that reckless ritual. On the way back home, I noticed a storm approaching. By the time I arrived, under the pouring rain, I thought I could finally live without those disturbing presences. But I soon realized it was just an illusion, because when I opened the door to my daughter's bedroom, I saw something familiar, but darker, watching me closely. It was Jane, smiling sweetly, but different this time. Her gaze reflected infinite sadness. And beside her, that same shadow-wrapped figure. That's when I understood. We would never truly forgive each other, because I had done something unthinkable in my selfish quest to bring my daughter back. And now I was paying a high price on this dark path. And so I kept living, trapped in this endless nightmare, always anxious and distressed, but especially terrified on stormy nights, because I knew exactly who would be waiting for me in the bedroom and in the shadows. Until finally, one day,